Good morning, fourth graders. This is Miss Griffiths here, as some of you might know me by Miss G. I'm actually going to be taking over the nonfiction or informational section of the writing block that you guys have. Now, for today, we're going to teach everyone how we're going to pull certain information, the important information, out of the informational text you're going to be reading. So, what we're going to do today is learn how to preview, predict, and tap prior knowledge to better understand the text. First of all, we're going to be starting with this book called Oceans by Peter Benoit. And if I could preview this book, how would I be able to tell what it might be about later on? Well, first of all, how am I going to be able to tell how it's an informational text? It says up here in the right-hand corner, a true book. I'm going to trust that means that it is factual. Now, if I also were to preview this book and look at it, the title says Oceans. Now, if I were to predict what the book might be about, I look at oceans. What do I already know about oceans? Well, I can tell that I'm going to make the prediction that it has something to do with water. I can predict that maybe it has something to do with this picture of a shark on the front. Because as I'm previewing this cover page, there's a picture of this shark. The caption says, "Sharks lose an average of 30,000 teeth in a lifetime." That is a lot of teeth. I don't know if any of you have maybe a shark tooth necklace, but maybe they lost that tooth, kind of like we lose our baby teeth. So maybe if I'm predicting this book is about sharks, maybe it has something to do with more ocean life. Now, if I tap into my prior knowledge, what do I already know about this title here, Oceans? Well, I do know that we have a lot of oceans on the earth. I know that oceans are made of water, and I already know that oceans, some of them have salt water in them. So I'm going to flip a couple pages in and find out more about this book. Now, I flipped to the table of contents. Most informational books are going to have a table of contents. Now, if I preview this entire section, what do I see just by looking at it? Well, I see that it's broken up into sections, and today we're going to be able to read one section. And we'll kind of go along and read each one as a chunk. Now, if I'm previewing this entire section, I see what looks to be this creepy little fish down here. So maybe that ties into my previous knowledge or my prediction that this book will be about a lot of different sea creatures or ocean animals. I also see down here what looks to be like walruses, so that also kind of connects back to my prediction that it will have something to do with animals. Now, if I'm looking at this table of contents, and I'm going to look at just the section we're going to be reading today that's called Many Worlds in One. And the subtitle says, "What makes each ocean zone different?" Now, if I'm looking at this, let's preview it. The first section that says Many Worlds in One, let's make a prediction. What do I think that Many Worlds in One will be about? Well, if I look back on the title and I realize that it says oceans, maybe Many Worlds in One will talk about the many different types of animals that live in the ocean, maybe how they tie into life here on land. Maybe there's a lot of different types of animals in different oceans and how they're all on one earth in one world. Maybe. I guess we'll have to read and find out. So if I could tap into my prior knowledge about this section, Many Worlds in One, I don't really know a whole lot about how many different worlds really are in the ocean. So I'm going to keep reading and see if I can find any type of information that I can pick out and maybe also make a few connections back to my predictions. So the first section that I'm going to read is going to be called Many Worlds in One. In the next section, you're going to get a turn to read. But first, if I'm looking at this first page and it has a picture, what looks to be a cliff, some kayakers, they look to be in the ocean. The heading says, "Kayakers explore the Pacific waters off the coast of Mexico." Now, what can I predict just by looking at this picture that this section is going to be about? Maybe it has something to do with the Pacific Ocean. Maybe it has something to do with these kayakers. Maybe it has something to do with the rock formation here. I'm not really sure. Now, what do I know about my prior knowledge? Well, I do know that kayaking is a great workout, but I don't think that's what the oceans book is really going to be about. So I guess we'll have to keep reading. So if I read this first section, I'm going to start with the title. It says, Many Worlds in One. And it says, the ocean is its own world. Water flows freely around the continents and through straits and canals from one part of the globe to another. All Earth's oceans are connected and share certain traits. For example, ocean water has 3.5% salinity. That means for every 100 pounds or 45.4 kilograms of water, there are about 3.5 pounds or 1.6 kilograms of salt. So for every 100 pounds, there's 3.5 pounds of salt in the ocean. Now down here it says the Pacific is the world's largest ocean. Okay, so once I got to this subtitle right here, it told me a little bit more about what I was predicting and previewing on this page. It tells me that this is the Pacific Ocean. It's the world's largest ocean. So when I previewed this, did I know this was the largest ocean? When I predicted what this page would tell me about this Many Worlds in One section, did I predict that the Pacific Ocean is the world's largest ocean? I didn't. I also didn't know that the ocean water has 3.5% salinity, or 3.5 pounds of salt per 100 pounds of water. I did not know that, but that looks to be extremely important information, especially because right here, this word salinity is bolded. So when I previewed this, it told me a little bit. I predicted that it might have something to do with animals, but maybe something later on in the book will have to do with ocean animals. And if I tapped my prior knowledge, I was talking about I know that oceans do have salt in them. So that was interesting because I never knew how much salt. Well, what we're going to do next is you are going to read Oceans by the Numbers in the next section in the book. So have fun reading and try to remember to preview, predict, and tap into your prior knowledge of what you know about the topic. See you later.